Alright, hello guys. I am here to talk about a new way to play this game. So there's been some sentiment that I've seen that a lot of the game feels very pointless right now because of the new scenario that's coming, in just a couple of weeks. It feels like since the new scenario is going to stack creep a lot of our aces and also, creep a lot of our ability to build parents, that there's not a whole lot to do in the game right now. And so a lot of people are getting bored or burning out or just feeling like the game is feeling a little bit pointless. And so my Discord has been starting to do Uma drafts. And Uma drafts is maybe some of the most fun that I've had in the game in recent times. And it's really revitalized a lot of my love for Umamusume. And so I'm really, really excited to share it with you guys. Basically, drafting is when you have a couple of players that split onto two separate teams, and your teams select race courses to race on and then select Umas that you're going to use. You build Umas in a time-limited setting, and then you race on all of the courses. I'll go into the methodology of the drafts a little bit more, but it has been just an extremely rewarding and fun experience for me, and I'm really, really excited to share it with you guys and to say that we are now doing these drafts on Discord, and anybody can just go ahead and join and sign up and start drafting with us. So how does the draft format actually work? Getting down to brass tacks, the drafter that we use is made by Terumi and the Uma.guide team. They have been incredible, extremely receptive to feedback. They are in my Discord working with us to fine-tune and participate even in these drafts that we're doing. And so I just really want to give them a huge shout out. They've created an amazing tool that incentivizes a really unique and fun way to play the game. So thank you guys so much for that. Basically, how the drafter works is that it will first randomize the tiebreaker course for both teams. Teams will alternate picking 4 courses one by one. So team 1 picks a course, and then team 2 picks a course, and then team 1 picks a course, so on and so forth, until both teams have 4 courses picked. Then you get to ban one of your opponent's course picks. So you wind up with 6 total courses, 3 from each team, plus your randomized tiebreaker map. So in this example here, you can see that I get the opportunity to ban one of my opponent's maps. They've picked 2 dirt, 2 turf. They've picked, a turf mile, a dirt medium, and a turf medium. And so looking at this, I'm probably going to ban the dirt medium because I don't really want to have to run an Uma that can run both on dirt and a medium course. After that, we get to the Uma picks. So both teams pick one Uma to pre-ban from the draft. So both teams will pick one Uma to just cut off the list entirely. And then both teams get to pick Umas in snake order. So team 1 picks 1 Uma, team 2 then picks 2, team 1 picks 2 again, so on and so forth until you have 5 Umas total. Once you get to 5 Umas, both teams will then ban one additional Uma. So both teams will ban an Uma from their other team's roster. You can see here in this example, we had the ability to ban Tamamo Cross, Special Week, Medro Dober, Fine Motion, or Gold Ship. We ultimately chose to ban Tamamo Cross in this draft because there were a lot of really long maps that we thought that she would do very well on. After the bans, then both teams will pick 2 more Umas, so teams have a total of 6. And having a total of 6 is really nice because it means that you get one Uma that you don't have to run, right? Because each team is 5 players. Alright, so here's the drafter. It's on drafter.uma.guide. It is part of the Uma.guide website. And I'm going to go ahead and just go through a local draft. So there is an online draft, which is what most people will probably be using for these drafts, but a local draft will let you kind of play with the draft settings and how the draft works before you actually get into it. For a local draft, I'll just go ahead and name my teams. You can customize the turn timer. And then you are shown that tiebreaker map, like I mentioned. Our tiebreaker map is Hanshin 2200. And then here your teams can have their kind of last minute consult. You can review what your teams are going to pick. You can react to your tiebreaker map and see if you want to make any adjustments. And then you go into map pick phase. So you can pick any map, any race course, any distance. Now some people get really overwhelmed with this. Pre-planning with your team can be really helpful. Additionally, going to something like the Kachi Uma simulator is really nice because you can just stack up a lot of accelerations as kind of a cheat sheet and then see how these Umas will do on given tracks. So I can see that, all of these skills are going to be really nice on the Tokyo 2400. So maybe I want to pick the Tokyo 2400 because I know that I'm going to have a lot of options for acceleration there. And then my opponent picks a map. Maybe they'll pick a mile, and then I'll pick a map, I'll pick a medium. Another thing about this here too is that you only get to pick 2 map types. So 2 map lengths, and dirt is included in those map lengths. So I can't pick 2 mile and then 2 dirt mile to get around the mile thing. I have to, and any dirt pick will count as one of that distance. So for example, if Team 2 picks the Fukushima 1700, now you can see that they've picked both of their available miles here. Team 1 can still pick miles if they want, and that means that both teams will be running 3 miles total. And then you just go back and forth, pick a lot of tracks, see what works, think about what doesn't work. You're consulting with your team during this. You have this timer. You can say, okay, the other team picked this map. Okay, the other team picked this map. If I'm Team 1 and I'm looking at Team 2's map picks, I'm probably going to want to ban the dirt map because I don't want my Umas to have to run on dirt. If I'm Team 2, I'm probably going to ban this 1,000 meter course because that course is insane. And there you go. Now you have all of your maps that you're going to be running on. And you're going to review and strategize here with your team. So now is when you go back to your team, you go back to what Umas your team can run. You start trying to make a plan for how you're going to draft. You think, okay, my opponent's picked a lot of, medium to mile maps, so I probably want to ban, Christmas Ogre, or I want to ban, if it's a lot of medium and if it's a lot of miles or sprints or dirt, maybe ban Taiki Shuttle, but your team confers about this, right? You decide on what your first picks are going to be, so on and so forth. So this is the pre-ban phase. This is where I'm going to ban an Uma from the other team. So the other team is, locking in on some of these, so I'll just ban Red Maruzensky. Maybe I feel like she has a lot of excels on those maps. The other team is looking at my Umas here. Maybe they ban Christmas Ogre to Cap because she's very good. Team 1 gets first pick. Team 2 gets second and third picks. Team 1 gets fourth and fifth picks. And then so on and so forth. Once you get to 5 Umas each, you will then go into the ban phase. Now, the ban phase here is where you will pick one of your opponent's Umas that they've already selected in order to ban. I'm very scared of Southern Marzensi, so I'm going to ban her. And maybe I'm very scared of Ferrosil Conrapasa, so I'm going to ban her. And now each team only has 4 Umas, right? So we then get to pick 2 more for a total of 6. Team 2 picks 1, Team 1 picks 2, Team 2 picks 1, and now we're done. So now you get all of the information of the draft located here. First off, let me again compliment the comprehensiveness of this website. This is incredible. The map schedule, the available drafters, the bands that we've done here, we still have our tracks listed here. We can start reporting races once we get there. But we know what Umas we're working with. We know what maps we're working with. So then, in a live build setting, the teams will start conferring about parents, aptitudes, who's running what's happening, what your overall game plan is going to be, if you're going to throw a couple maps to optimize other maps, so on and so forth. And then you start building your Umas in a live build setting. This website also has a report race feature where you can report who came in, first, second, third in these maps, and this will help to tally up points for a point-based system. We've experimented with both a point-based system and a first-past-the-post system, and I'm curious to see what people think about both versions. So now let's talk about how the format is developing, because this is an extremely new format. I think that people on my Discord were some of the first folks to start casually running drafts, where the developers of the drafter have been doing playtests and things. We kind of found it and started using it. But basically, there's a couple schools of thought for how this drafting format is working. Firstly, there are 2 different ways that you can really play this draft. First is pre-build, which is where the teams get together a week or 2 before the draft will actually occur and compare rosters, decide on what maps they want to run, and then they spend that week or week and a half building Umas for the draft. And this means that they typically have much more developed Umas in the draft themselves, and they're able to really play into those high-risk picks for those Umas and make some Umas very, very strong. Then they do the actual drafting, and the drafting, because there are 4 separate Uma bans, could wind up banning an Uma that was very strong in your pre-build. But it does lead to a little bit more of the ceiling in terms of how drafting can really work. And also, pre-building makes the draft to race transition a lot faster because you're not trying to build Umas in between that. So the streams that I've had, my live build drafts, have been about 3 to 3.5 hours of gameplay, whereas a pre-build version would be much, much less because you're not trying to build Umas in between the draft and the races. You're just drafting and then you're sending it in the races. Live build is where you finish the draft and then each member of your team starts building their Umas immediately, right? So we've experimented with times on this so far. The first few times we did a 2-hour live build, which is about, 3 or 4 Unity runs, maybe 5 if you like close one really early. It's a little bit too long, I think, and so we cut the draft live build by about 30 minutes, so now we only have 90 minutes. And 90 minutes was pretty comfortable, so live build typically doesn't usually hit quite as high ceilings as pre-build does, and it also completely warps the perception of risk versus reward when you're building Umas, which I think is really, really interesting, and it completely changes your mindset of how you're approaching this game, because you know that you only get 2, maybe 3 chances to build an Uma for this draft, so you want to choose less risky options, both in the training and also in your Uma selections in general. For example, an Uma like Summer Marzensky is very, very strong in general and very strong on a lot of maps. However, fronts are very high risk, high reward because you don't know if you're going to get your groundwork triggers. You don't know if you're going to finish Mihoto Bourbon's chain to get taking the lead. And your build is extremely dependent on that. And so if you wind up picking a high-risk Uma like Summer Marzensky and you wind up not getting enough groundwork triggers, or, you wind up not hitting taking the lead in both the runs that you can do, it can make your resulting Uma maybe a little bit worse of a choice than if you had picked someone parallel, like, for example, Valentine Bourbon, or even Satan Sky, who has Frontrunner Savvy in her kit, so she has an easier time hitting groundwork. Maybe you bring the Smart Falcon card so you can guarantee groundwork instead of trying to inherit it. Or, just things like that where you're thinking about, okay, I only have 2 runs to get something usable, so how do I improve my chances to be able to contribute the most to my team? And that's a part of the live build that I really enjoy. I also think that live build is a very fun watching experience because people get emotionally invested in this Uma that you're creating and that you're making, and watching that Uma participate in all of those races, right? So I think as a streaming format, as an entertainment format, live build is really fun, but I do think that pre-build has a place in higher stakes competitions, right? Live build is a lot more prone to RNG, and I think that pre-build is a lot more indicative of whether or not a player is able to produce a high roll that can be game warping, basically. The next thing that I want to talk about is accessibility. So I've had a couple people in the Discord want to sign up but feel a little bit nervous because they don't think that their accounts are very developed. And it's something that I was worried about when I started doing the drafts and when I started kind of monitoring, organizing the drafts. But I think that it's actually been a really interesting experience because we have had players participate in our drafts that have very new accounts, right? Like, some of the players on my team had made a new account for Christmas Ogre to reroll, so their account has only been 2 or 3 months old, and yet they were still able to participate and even win a race and then podium in a couple other races, which is huge for your team. I also think that the more random nature of live builds kind of equalizes the playing field a little bit. For example, I found that even some of our more extremely stacked account players can, depending on the Uma picks, depending on the maps, depending on, how their runs go, depending on how risky they tried to make it, they can perform about the same or maybe even a little bit worse than players that don't have quite as good accounts, because maybe the players that don't have quite as good accounts decided to do a generalist option, and so they have a Uma to run every single map. Maybe they ran Original Ogre, or maybe they ran El Condor Hasa, and they can run every map, which makes them a threat in every single map. Whereas maybe the more experienced player says, okay, I'm gonna run Dober, right? And Dober is very good on a lot of maps, but she's not good on every single map. Or maybe they're running Taishin and they have a bad Taishin crew because Taishin crews can snowball into, horrible experiences, right? So overall, I feel like the format is actually more of an equalizer than I had initially thought when I started playing. It's always good to have an experienced player on your team, and usually that experienced player will probably be the captain, but it's not really the end-all be-all in terms of a free-to-play account versus a, dolphin account versus a whale account. So far, in my experience, I feel like everybody has been able to compete and meaningfully contribute to their team, And, you know, even if something goes horribly wrong and all 3 of your runs just completely are trashed, right? It's still fun, right? Like, you could still laugh about it with your team, and maybe that run will still pull out a crazy win. In my Sunday draft, my 16,000 rating Saiyan Sky got beat by a 700 speed gold chip. So, like, I think that there's always options, especially when you think about available Umas, because that's another thing that people get concerned about in terms of the selection is the available Umas that people have to draft. And I do think that that can be a little tricky, but there are so many good Umas in the free-to-play bucket. So when we were drafting on Sunday, we had a lot of mediums, 1 long, and 2 miles, right? And we picked McQueen. But actually, Tachyon would have been a better pick for us because Tachyon can run the miles, and Tachyon has the heal for the longs, and Tachyon has some skills for the medium. Like, Tachyon would have been a better choice than McQueen there. And then we also realized that Mayono Top Gun would have been a better choice than some of our other picks. So in retrospect, like when we're reviewing the drafts and like thinking about the decision making that we had to do on the fly, we're realizing that really the free-to-play horses, we often disregard them because they're not the horses you think of first, especially, you know, when you're trying to think about like horses that have unique excels or, you know, something that works really well on this map or that map or like the super special, crazy, powerful horse. But I think that even players that don't have any 3-star exclusive Umas in general can still compete because Top Gun is a really strong option, Tachyon's a very strong option, El Condor Pasa is a very strong option. You know, you have a lot of horses available. Gold Ship is a very strong option. Gold Ship has won a lot of my draft races so far. So I don't think that you should let the size of your roster or the status of your account prevent you from trying to just jump in and have fun. So far in my Discord, the format has been very welcoming and casual in terms of just, you know, everybody can compete, everybody has fun, and, you know, we're not like going too crazy on the competitive aspect of it, you know, quite yet. One of the things that we've started doing, only in the last couple drafts, so I don't know if this is going to persist, but one of the things that we've started doing is trying to balance teams a little bit more by taking the self-reported average rating of someone's Umas that they can make and trying to balance those out. And I think that balancing by average ratings is really nice rather than balancing by like how many SSR cards you have or how many 3-star Umas you have, because those are inherently misleading. But I think that average rating is nice because it does show like a player's average performance in the game, which is what we really care about when we're talking about live builds. So now when we talk about format balance, there's a lot of interesting things that are coming out of some of our draft results. For example, Christmas Ogre has been banned in pretty much every single draft, but I don't know that that is necessarily always going to be the right call, especially in a live build scenario where you might struggle with getting the recoveries that you need on her, you might struggle with getting the amount of SP that you need on her. And so this is an extremely new format, right? Like this format is in its infancy. And so we're all getting to experience this really fun opportunity of getting in on the ground floor of something totally new and trying to figure out like what works and what doesn't, what's best, what's not best, you know, picks and counter picks. And it has just been so interesting to me. And again, like the format itself isn't set in stone. I have been, you know, talking a lot with the Uma.guide folks, and they're so receptive to feedback. They've already changed the drafter like in 4 separate patches after we've started playing on it. So it's possible that some of these ways that the drafter is used might be changed. It's possible that some of the format of the drafter itself might be changed. To that point, in the last couple days, we've started working on a podium point system rather than a first past the post system, which has helped a lot in terms of balancing teams. And there's also a lot of discussion to be had about this system, right? So like, I don't know, everything is so interesting because when you think about a podium points, right? This system now rewards Umas that can consistently make it to top 3. It doesn't only reward Umas who win. So you're incentivized then to start building more generalist Umas who can still win, like Ogre Cap. In my last draft that I did, we had a special week player and their special week got second 3 separate times in the draft. She never won a draft, but she still earned our team 6 points, which was really good, and it felt really rewarding for that special week player. And I think this also ties in a little bit more with the account status and the account balance and the team balance thing, where everybody can still contribute, right? And so I do really like the podium point system, but it does also like reward generalists rather than specialists, and is that something that we really want to lean into? So there's so many fascinating discussions to have about this format, and I think that if you love the concept of Umamusume, like if you love this game, then I think you will love drafting formats. So in closing, I know that I've yapped a lot about this, but I'm so excited about it. And it's possible that we could start thinking about other player numbers. I know that I've been really wanting to talk about a 1v1v1 format, like a CM light format, or, you know, a CM marathon format, like something like that. Like there's so many different ways to think about the game when you start thinking about alternative game modes like this. But the draft 5v5 format has been so cool because it is an entirely new way to think about the game. It like takes all of the knowledge that you've gained while you're learning about Umamusume, and then it like puts an entirely new spin on it. And it's been all that I've thought about for the last like 5 days, which is not great because I need to make more content, but I really wanted to make a video about this because it's been so fascinating to just not only see a new way to think about the game, but to talk with other people and watch as the format develops. It helps you to speed learn maps and Uma specialties. When you are supporting your team captain during picks and your team captain says, okay, they picked Hanshin 1800, and then you have to go and find out what Umas are good on Hanshin 1800, it reinforces learning more about maps and learning more about Umas in a very fun and fast way that I think will make even people's like CM experiences a lot better. I already mentioned this, but the draft meta is growing. It's literally the ground floor of a new meta, which has been so fun. And it's also just a social format. Like we have been chatting so much about this, and because teams are inherently 5v5, you have, you know, 5 folks on a Discord call like playing Uma side by side and like talking about their runs and, you know, sharing their aces. And then we get 10 people in for the races, and the hype is crazy. I'm gonna share some links after this, but it's just been a really fun way to like play the game with other people, because Uma at its core is a very solo oriented game. Like even the multiplayer parts of the game, like the clubs or the CMs or even the room matches, are very impersonal. Like you're never actually talking to other people. But with the draft 5v5 format, you're learning about Uma together, you're experiencing the game together, you're invested in other people's runs in a way that you just kind of aren't otherwise. So I think it's a great format. I think that I have to be careful because I'm going to spend way too much time doing it. If you are curious about how it looks or how it goes, I would highly recommend going to the stream that I have linked here. So this stream is going to show the entire draft from start to finish, but I've timestamped everything. So you can go to our draft portion and see how we are thinking in real time about our opponent's map picks, our opponent's Uma picks, which Umas we're banning, which Umas we're not banning, and like how we're trying to think through and around the other team. And then we know that the other team is doing the exact same thing, right? I'd highly encourage you guys to look at that. I'm going to include a couple of clips from that stream onto this video, just so you can kind of get an idea for like the social format of it. And the last thing I'm gonna leave you guys with is that we are doing a lot of drafts in my Discord right now. I think my Discord has just kind of become the drafting Discord. So I'm leaving a link to my Discord in my description here, and it's in my YouTube profile. If you guys want to join my Discord, you can go to the Self Roles channel and give yourself the draft ping role. This will ping you on Discord for when folks are trying to set up a draft for later on in the day, and then you can participate in the draft. We assign teams, you get to be on a team, and then you go from there. It's really fun. We've set up some infrastructure for it. Again, everything is so new, so please give some feedback. You know, we're looking for more players, we're looking for more feedback. Everybody has been really enthusiastic and really excited about this, so I'm really excited, and I hope that a lot of folks join and a lot of folks are wanting to do drafts, because this is, I think, the most fun I've had with this game in a really long time. So as you are getting ready for Trackblazer and you don't know what to do on your account, come draft with us. It'll be super fun. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
They've picked 2 maps that start on a straight, the Excel Zone.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay, I'm gonna lock in Hanshin 2200.
But you get to ban after this, right?
Yes.
Let's ban Tama, I think. I think they're planning to use Tama.
Oh, okay.
Because she would kill on those tracks.
Yeah. Well, we're picking Taishin.
That's true.
Uh,
We could
we
play now.
we could pick Tama or try to pick Tama. Oh wow, they picked Tokyo 3400.
Oh,
What
I
are
know.
they?
Okay,
Okay.
that is a what's it called? A determined descent track.
Oh yeah, I see.
I guess I pick Cafe. Like you can run the Airshikert card. I mean, I'm being serious. Oh, they pick Gold Ship.
Oh,
Yeah.
So their plan really is all backliners, huh?
Yeah. Oh, and Find Motion. Sorry, they picked Find Motion and Gold Ship. They have no fronts.
no fronts.
Yeah.
Wait,
Guys, we could all take sympathy.
True.
We could.
And real.
We
So-
could.
Somebody in my
That's-
chat just said we
okay,
could
I've actually saw
sympathy
that one.
gaming.
it's fine, right? It's exactly fine.
Yeah, are we all running Rico?
I'm
Yeah.
running recon.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we all get
But-
sympathy.
Oh my god.
Oh, you missed NSM.
Oh, here we
I'm
go.
scheming.
The rod abides.
I.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Steven went so
Well, that's
far
fine.
up, and the queen can't ult. She went so
You
far,
can't
the queen
DDC.
can't ult.
You can't DDC because you're
I couldn't even ult. She's so far. I got owned.
Oh, nice.
Listen, we finally proc the
Come on,
roll.
give us a win. Give us a win.
Wow.
Oh, the Gold Ship.
How did
Oh,
Gold Ship!
curvature there?
She's sprinting. I don't know how that
Gold
happened.
ship!
But she
She was
Gosh.
going so fast.
I wish y'all to look at the
Old
school chip
shit.
stats, actually.
Yes.
Gold Ship takes the
please
first
look at
win.
this.
Look at the school chip stats.
We
Because
just
if
got
you look at the
mogged
skull chip, you'll
hard.
notice something. This skull chip is not good.
That's so crazy.
I love CMs.
I love This is the funniest thing ever, man.
This Gold Ship beat my 1600 rating science guy.